What we've begun today doesn't end today. It's a journey. We are investing in you because we see that you can carry this forward. Carry this with you and begin to fertilize and share and pollinate the world with the knowledge you get. We are collaborating with the United Nations Environmental Programme to lead and develop a program of leaders for Africa in the coming future. What we call the Charles R. Wall African Policy Fellows Program promises to position Africans in policy roles, government, as well as civil society in shaping the dialogue into the future.
Coming to climate change, it's an issue that the world is focusing the eyes on, but it's an issue which will never be addressed without considering the biodiversity conservation, because it's causing hazards to biodiversity and bringing the effects that we are facing in response, like heavy rains, like longer droughts, which are being caused by the loss of biodiversity as well as the invasive and alien species. So I believe that those two things are connected in one way or another, and they have to be addressed together for a successful, sustainable conservation.
For Africa as a continent that is negatively impacted by environmental issues, especially climate change and the negative situation of biodiversity, I think for Africa, for the African nations and countries to come together and to have one platform, to have one voice, it means that we are leading the climate action in the global south. At the same time, we are inspiring several continents to do the same thing.
What I appreciated about this program was you made us think. It wasn't an issue of just harvesting information, just taking information without any accountability of what we do with it after. Every information that we learned, we were made to apply it, and we see it being effective in terms of what we are doing at our own workspace, at our own interactions that we have with other stakeholders. And also now that I'm meeting with my regional fellows, we now have common areas of interest which we actually garnered from this workshop.
Working with the county governments and with the information that I've gathered here, one of the biggest things that I want to do back in my county is have a conservation policy, domesticate this at the local level, where we can have a policy and even go ahead and have an act. And if possible, with the meager resources that the county is getting, have a conservation fund that can be able to give benefits to communities and create awareness of how conservation can really be of benefit to communities and how human beings, communities and nature can live together in harmony.
So it is my first experience and exposure within the policy making space. And what stood out for me was, in as much as countries may share common interest on certain environmental issues, each country has a responsibility for their country's interests.
For me, it's been a very good experience, particularly meeting young people who I expected to not have known much, but surprisingly, some of them have been to the Conference of Parties, some of them have been involved in some forms of negotiations, and they are now providing leadership within the groups.
This particular cohort, we've done something different, because one of the goals is to ensure that we have a pool of professionals in the negotiating space, particularly in the biodiversity ecosystem. We have gone ahead and interacted with our Africa group of negotiators in the biodiversity space. And what we have done is engage them beforehand, brought them to the realization that there are some group of young pool of resources that we are training, and we would like them to be informed of their availability to be part of the negotiation process.
There's exciting things that are coming for this cohort. One, they are going to be joining the AWF delegation in different conferences. This includes EBS, which works in the science policy interface. It includes the COP for climate change. It also includes the Africa Ministerial Conference on the Environment, amongst others. But it doesn't end there. The fellows are also going to be trained on how to write policy briefs and be supported to publish those.
My vision for the future is that these young people really imbibe and take on what we are going to share with them, and that they become models for the change we want to see, that each of them in their own sphere begins to influence, and that they work together in ways that position Africa with one and a common voice, such that we are able to reach the goals of the Africa we want within the context of a safe and a biodiversity space that allows us to develop, but as well conserve nature for posterity.